Hi, everyone. I am very excited to introduce our next speaker, Ali Merchant, CEO of Callbotics. We are going to be discussing AI taking over the front line. So, what that means for the role of the agent and the future of experiences. And we're so excited to have you join us, Ali. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, before we dive in, as always, I'd love it if you could just share a brief introduction on yourself and your role at Callbotics.
Of course. So, of course, I'm Ali Merchant. I'm the CEO of Callbotics. To give you a little background about myself and how Callbotics came into existence, basically. So, 17 years back, I founded this another company called AM Infoweb, where basically we help BPOs and enterprises with in-house contact centers set up their contact centers, operate them, scale them, transform them. Uh, and for when we started the company, we were like 5 people. Today, we are close to 2,000 people there. And obviously, I have, because when we started, we were just 5 people. I have been through all the roles of agent, team leader, operations manager. And then for a long, long time, I have been the CEO as well. That being said, I have lived all those roles, lived the realities of contact center for 17 years. And how Callbotics came into existence. So when obviously the AI era arrived, ChatGPT came in, we were all stunned. What is happening? How is this even possible? And that's when we, set up a dedicated team, which we called Callbotics, to build a platform which build a platform that does conversational AI and voice automation. So what we did was we filtered people out of the other organization, the best technical people, the best leaders, contact center leaders, who at least had an experience of 10 years, 12, 15 years. And we put them together, we tasked them, and including myself, I devoted most of my time there that let's build something good. But at the end of the day, our responsibility was to make sure that our we are getting the best solution for our clients, right? So we were also benchmarking other platforms, deploying them for them. But a very interesting thing happened. Wherever we had deployed Callbotics, we saw at least 30% more resolution rates, meaning, AI agents were able to resolve 30% more calls, and the CSAT or customer satisfaction was also higher in those queues. And that's when we knew we have something really, really good over here. And being an operator at heart, a contact center leader at heart, we wanted that. And after deploying that, so for us, customer zero was AM Info, right? And the customers we had over there. And firsthand, as a contact center leader, I saw how it changed my life, our leaders' life, and how it kind of made things really easy for us. So we wanted that more and more people are able to benefit out of it. That's how Callbotics came into existence. So we said that so that a lot of people can benefit out of it, we launched it as a separate company, a SaaS company. So all together.
Thank you for sharing that journey and really taking us along because as you mentioned, I mean, you've been in every role in the contact center space, so you really know how this technology, how these tools benefit your team and the contact center and your customers. So, such an exciting time in this space, and really excited to talk more about how you've been able to leverage this technology so effectively. And this session that we're focused on right now is talking about AI taking on the front line. You mentioned that you've seen 30% improvement, which is really exciting. Can you share some insight on what this new dynamic will look like where AI is taking on the front line and how it will differ from what organizations are doing today?
I think that's a great question, right? Uh, what, and I'm sure, a lot of leaders already know this, and but there are obviously, I come across conversation where leaders have a misunderstanding what it can do or what it means for it to take the front line. In my humble understanding, it basically means that almost every conversation first hits AI, except for obviously a very few predefined set of scenarios where maybe due to compliance or certain strategic initiatives, humans need to talk first, and everything else has to go through AI first. So what the AI does is, when a call comes in, and when I say call, and I mention conversations, is because I think with most platforms, at least with callbotics, we have this, that uh, obviously not a lot of advancement in terms of technology happened on the call side, and hence uh, that is where the maximum value lies today. But the same capability can be extended to chat, emails, social media, right? So I say conversations generally. But any call or conversation that hits a contact center, the AI first kind of listens to it, understands the intent of the call, right? Then it kind of, sometimes some use cases, some workflows, we need to verify the customer. So it kind of verifies the customer, uh, fetches the data that it needs to have through the integration it has, or the data that you have fed into the platform, and then basically resolve it just like a human. And all this happens in a very natural human way. So we obviously, we have tracked in a lot of scenarios, we track, like, um, if what happens is, in a lot of we work with multiple global companies, right? So in some cases they don't need to mention if it's an AI agent, that is basically having the conversation. And in those scenarios we tracked if the customers actually knew it was an AI agent. uh, Long story short, less than 0.5% situations, or calls or conversations, is where customers understood that if it was an AI agent. So that's what it does. And then there is, and what we are seeing is, approximately across companies, different workflows, around 80% of these conversations and calls are automated, and 20% are then escalated to a human agent with full context, with even suggestions as to what needs to be done on that call. And these are generally those calls where um, either it is very emotionally intensive call, or it is very very complex call, or multiple decisions need to be taken, or multiple coordinations need to happen within the organization. You need to kind of probably get up from your desk and ask someone, right? These are those kind of scenarios that we have observed. So if I have to say that, what does it mean, in my understanding, except for those exceptional scenarios, most conversations, most calls first hit AI, and then there is defined rules, situations where it escalates with full context suggestion to the human agent.
I mean, yeah, from our own research at CCW Digital, we found that most leaders agree that they believe that AI is going to take on the bulk of that interaction at the front. And then for anything that needs, is potentially more complex or needs a little bit more attention, that will be escalated to the human. So definitely see that as kind of the next step. And also, it certainly supports the agent and the customer's experience, but I wanted to talk a little bit about challenges because your clients, I'm sure, are facing challenges, and AI can really support a lot of these things that are still kind of, obstacles in the contact center. So in 2025, customers are still facing challenges like long wait times, repetitive conversations, and just generally disconnected experiences. So, what are some of the key challenges that your clients are facing right now, and how do you see AI really solving them?
I think the biggest challenge is, I mean, practically as a contact center leaders, right? Hiring people, attrition, training them, making sure that there is this consistency in brand, right? All these are like very real challenges. And then on the customer side, I mean, in today's world where time is of the essence, such long wait times, For over a decade, I myself have experienced this, that whenever I'm calling somewhere, I expect that either a IVR will happen, which will be like, this very, the experience is overall not very good. Or, it will be a self-service portal. Or at best, it could be, that maybe after 5-10 minutes of hold, uh, I get to talk to someone. Just think of this scenario. You yourself are a customer. I myself am a customer. You call and immediately someone says, "Hi, this is Jenny. How can I help you today?" That pure joy, honestly, that comes out of that, I think, is a very good challenge to solve. So that is something, that customers solve uh, with AI agents. Uh, that being said, uh, with that, also are these very long, conversations that happen. uh, we as a contact center ourselves know that a lot of times we do not, uh, we have this high attrition rate. So every time we have new agents in our organization, right? And they need to go through documents to provide those answers. But AI agents, they are connected to these systems, they are integrated with systems, they have all the answers are always consistent. So that is a second thing that, it kind of solves for them. And then obviously, cost has always been a very, very large challenge with contact centers. You have to do more and more with less and less over the period of time. And we saw that, with AI agents, if even if you have offshore, you save close to 65% on your call costs. And if you're onshore, you are saving close to 75 to 90%. So I think obviously there are many more challenges, but these are the main challenges these that our customers are facing, and AI agents kind of solve them in a very big way.
Thanks for sharing. I mean, we definitely see so many of those challenges on our end too. And AI certainly has the ability to really support the agent and help them, elevate what they're doing, which we're going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our market study because we worked together on what I think was a really interesting piece. And so we discussed the idea that a balance of AI and human might not be possible or even productive in some cases. So how do you see AI and humans collaborating? What tasks do you think AI is really great at taking on versus where should the agent still remain kind of king?
I think that's a great question, because this is where we have observed that most organizations or leaders come and get stuck. We ourselves got stuck there too, a little less than 2 years back when we were implementing it for our, for one of our other companies. Uh, when it comes to what should be automated within a contact center and what should be elevated at a higher level, at a maybe 30-40,000 feet level, I can mention. But one thing at the outset that I feel we should mention is that it differs from every organization to organization. We have to respect. This is what I have learned with many mistakes over the last 2 decades, that you have to appreciate that every organization, every contact center is unique, their goals are unique, their workflows are unique, use cases are unique. Within that, their strategy is unique. So this kind of, you cannot have a one piece or one, size fits all kind of an approach. But that being said, uh, the larger challenge that we have seen is starting. There is so much anxiety within senior leaders as well as agents about AI agents and AI. And we all have these conversation, every day, every call, every conference, that what about jobs and stuff like that, right? So I think, and can it actually do the job? So senior leaders are concerned if it can get the job done. The agents are concerned what that means for them. So contact center leaders have this responsibility, two major responsibility. One, to prove that it works, and second, the value that it creates, and third, that how it will positively impact all the stakeholders. So that being said, we when we started off this journey a little less than 2 years ago, we made the mistake of trying to automate the most complex use cases or complex workflows. I would say that given that your first goal should be to prove the value and what it means for everyone and their roles, right? We should start with repeatable, rule driven, data driven kind of, tasks. And then basically workflows where success and failure has a clear definition. What happens is, they say, right, that seeing is believing. Once leaders see that nothing terribly wrong goes there, uh, and what level of CSAT score increase they see, the level of stability that comes within a contact center, and then on top of that, the one of the most important one of the things is that at the end of the day, cost is the reality and the level of cost efficiency that comes in, right? So they are now happy, relaxed, and they you have their buy-in. And then you have your agents who see that this because of this, you get your job becomes more meaningful. And you are now working on more meaningful work, and because of that your overall pay, designation, respect, everything is kind of increasing. So I think that is what my while your question was what is automated, I would like to say this, that it is important to start, and start at this point. uh, and these could be calls like verification calls, detail collection calls, scheduling calls. In some cases we have pushed customers that start with weekend queues or after hour queues, but just start, right? So anything that is simple, repeatable, you start from there, automate that. And then anything, and it kind of takes care of bulk of the conversations, and then you keep on just like you would train your human agents, you keep training your AI agents and they'll get better and better. What gets elevated or transferred or escalated to a human agent will be things that require, which will be like around 20% of the calls or conversations, which will be like where multiple decisions are required, or multi-stakeholder coordination is required, or the intensity of the emotions or frustration is very high. There are policy exceptions to be made, or very delicate scenarios. So I think that is what needs to be elevated to your humans. And so everything and anything except for a few things gets to AI, and then everything else, the scenarios that I mentioned, goes to human agents. I think the rule of thumb we generally ask our leaders and our customers to follow, or newer customers to follow, is that uh, if a question to an answer for five agents is the same, it can be automated. And if there is a lot of nuance, it goes to humans. So, in a funny way, we always say that let AI take the first swing, and then let humans take the meaningful swings.
So we talked a little bit about the actual people in the process, and we want to make sure that AI isn't dehumanizing the experience because that's very important to customers, that it's really amplifying the people. So can you talk a little bit more about how AI is amplifying the customer experience and making it still human as we lean into tech?
So I think I'll put it this way, right? That first of all, AI agents are not they can just have a very natural conversation like a human, be empathetic. We have use cases where let's say one of the use cases that we came across was first notice of loss. If your house was hit by a storm, you need to call your insurance company and let them know, give that first notice of what happened. And obviously it's a distressing time, and still we have AI agents deployed there, and they have that very human conversation. So as I mentioned earlier as well, if compliance allows, your strategy allows, and if you're not saying that it's an AI agent, most less than 0.5% of the times they actually understand. In fact, they are very happy. There are no hold times. The overall clarity, speed at which they get answers is so fast that, they're just happy and overall CSATs are increasing. But that being said, let's have a second scenario where we say that, okay, you have to say that it is an AI agent, right? I, as a customer, I am busy. I have my own personal challenges. I am getting late to go and pick up my daughter, or I have to get somewhere. I have my own challenges, right? So I am not most of the use cases. And while I said that on these kind of sensitive use cases as well, it works really well. But let's say most use cases, they are about either, getting an update, getting some information, sharing some information, right? I just want that uh, I do it in the most less possible time, which basically means no hold time. And then, I get the answers correct. So as long as the AI is understanding the customers, it's not making them repeat, respecting their time and by resolving it as quick as it can, right? And then if required, there is a very smooth escalation to a human agent with full context so they don't have to repeat themselves. I think the overall experience becomes so nice that, I, as a customer, and what we are seeing from CSAT scores and conversations and surveys that we are taking, they don't really, mind talking to an AI agent. And as I said, the AI agent also will do a lot of, can also do uh, very, very natural conversations. But I think trust is earned through that, through experiences and, not general theories, I would say.
I agree. I mean, I like the point you make about the speed and how realistically most of us are just looking for an answer. And so, whatever can give us that answer in the most seamless, intuitive way sometimes is enough. I mean, we do, of course, love engaging with people, with agents, but for simple issues that can be resolved very quickly, that is kind of more empathetic choice. I mean, we talk a lot about how empathy here at CCW Digital, how empathy isn't necessarily about being friendly or nice. It's really just solving the problem in the way that makes sense for the customer. So if
Mhm.
that is just answering it really quickly, then that is kind of the most empathetic way to approach the conversation. So I completely agree. I think as we look ahead, it will be much more of this kind of dynamic where when AI makes sense, customers lean in, and then when they have, a little bit more of a complex, deeper issue, that's when we really rely on the agent. Um, as we wrap up the conversation here, you mentioned that the most important piece is just starting. And for so many people, that can be incredibly daunting and overwhelming. So, what is one thing that leaders need to start doing today if they really want to begin preparing their teams for this AI first future?
I think as you rightly mentioned from my earlier conversation, that you need to start, right? And they need to, first of all, I think, the most important piece, I as a contact center leader know this, that, you need a right partner. And then, someone who can not just provide the platform, but if required, also give you access to information. Like, for example, uh, wherever we make deployments, right, we, provide our customers or our clients with, or partners with these documents, like, what will be the new skills that their people are going to require, meaning, and the designations that go along with them. So for example, the new designations will be, these agents will be have to retrained to become AI supervisors, conversation designers, AI QA analysts. A large part of the role for those 20% knowledge intensive, emotion intensive conversations will be, exception resolution specialists, and then training material around that, right? And uh, kind of they need to also create this cultural shift that, AI agents, and meaning AI and human, it's a partnership and not, against each other. And then basically show them, as I mentioned earlier as well, how it will benefit them, how it evolves their roles, and, hence they get paid better, they get more respect, they have more fulfilling roles. One of the things, very unique thing that we observed was, leaders who went on this journey maybe 1 or 2 years back, right? They faced a lot of resistance within their organization, even from their seniors, from their agents, everyone around them, right? But the good thing is, once they kind of uh, addressed the initial anxieties and they saw, the stakeholders saw what value it created, they kind of, now, uh, I mean, I don't know of anyone who has not got a promotion after that. Everyone is promoted. The organizations that are now looking to, deploy voice agents, they are looking for those people. And hence, they are offering more and more pay and more higher designations. But then the existing organizations who have done it, they don't have a pool from where they can hire people from outside. So to maintain them, they are also, paying really well. And that long due respect that contact center leaders should have, they do have. But even, now, because they are becoming more proactive rather than reactive, I think that is also one thing that we have observed. So I think, yeah, largely cultural shift as well as, training on these kind of newer roles is what we are looking at.
Definitely. Such important, really, points to be focusing in on. So, as we end off here, thank you so much, Ali, for joining us. Any final thoughts or anything you want to share as we close out the conversation today?
No, I think, I think the AI technology is there. Over the period of time, I think adoption is what needs to happen. I say this not as the CEO of Callbotics, but as a fellow contact center leader. Not only do you create better value for your stakeholders, but, much easier lives for yourself, because you end up building more reliable, more consistent, more faster, and more dependable contact centers. I would just say start on this journey. And as a final statement, to address the biggest anxiety, that will it be human? Trust me from, lived experiences, that ironically, this path leads to more humanity.
Thank you so much, Ali. I think that's a great place for us to kind of close off here. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and joining us today. I so appreciate it.
Likewise, appreciate it. Thank you.